Session 6 of the Numeracy lecture series, Percentage Concentrations. Symbols, weight, W is weight, has weight units attached to it, which is for example grams. V is volume, it will have volume units attached to it, for example milliliters. So today we're working on weight to weight, weight to volume to volume, and volume to weight. Remember, percent means per cent, which means per 100. A percentage is effectively a fraction with a denominator of 100. So 50% is 50 over 100. 17.5% is 17.5 over 100. Hence, with this notation of percent, we get the denominator must be 100 units. So now we simply need to apply the correct units to the percentage fraction. So if we have a 1% weight to volume, it means we've got 1 gram, which is your weight, in 100 mils, which is your volume. It's 100 because of the percentage. So 2% volume to volume means you've got 2 mils, because it's a volume, in 100 mils, because it's a volume. So if that's at 2% W to V, that would be 2 grams in 100 mils. So the weight is always in grams, the volume is always in milliliters. So percentage weight per volume is how many grams per 100 mils. Percentage volume per weight is how many milliliters per 100 grams. This is very important. You need to understand this to move forward. So percentage weight to weight will be the number of grams of active substance, the drug, in 100 grams of product. Used to express the weight of a solid in 100 grams of a solid product. A 1% weight to weight hydrocortisone ointment denotes that you've got 1 gram of hydrocortisone in 100 grams of the final product. So that's what 1% weight to weight hydrocortisone ointment means. You've got 1 gram of hydrocortisone, which is the drug, in 100 grams of the final product. Percentage weight to volume is the number of grams of drug in 100 mils. It's used to express the weight of a solid in 100 mils of a liquid product. So 1% weight to volume solution of sodium chloride means that you've got 1 gram of sodium chloride in 100 mils of final solution. So it's 1 gram of the drug in the 100 mils of final solution. Percentage volume to volume means the number of milliliters of drug in 100 ml of product. So it's used to express the volume of a liquid in 100 mils of a liquid product. So for example here, an emulsion containing 40% volume to volume liquid paraffin denotes that you've got 40 milliliters of liquid paraffin in 100 milliliters of the final emulsion. Percentage volume to weight is the number of milliliters in 100 grams of product. So that's quite straightforward. And I think the only way to get the concept into your heads properly is to do some practice questions. So here we go. 5% weight to weight is 5 grams in 100 grams. It's weight to weight, so it's grams and grams, and it's 5, so it's 5 grams in 100 grams. 3.2% volume to weight is 3.2 mils in 100 grams. It's volume to weight, which means 3.2 milliliters in 100 grams of final product. A 1 litre bag of glucose solution on the hospital ward contains 40 milliliters of glucose. What is the percentage volume to volume glucose in this product? Okay, so the answer is 4% volume to volume. The way we got there is you've got 40 milliliters in 1 litre, which means you've got 40 milliliters in 1,000 milliliters. which means you've got 4 milliliters in 100 milliliters. We need to work it out to how much there is in 100 milliliters because it's percent. So it means therefore that it's 4% volume to volume. Remember to reinsert and use the correct units. Very crucial that you do the conversions to the correct units. So in that case, what weight of miconazole is required to make 40 grams of a cream containing 2% weight to weight of the drug? Okay, so now look at this question. Look at the concentration expression and determine how much drug is contained in 1 gram of the product. 2% weight to weight means that there are so many grams in so many grams. Okay? So if there are so many grams in so many grams, there must be so many grams in 1 gram. We know, once you know that, we can then calculate how much drug there would be in 40 grams of that product. So you're working out how much there is in 1 gram so that we can ultimately work out how much there is in 40 grams. Because if we know that there's X in 1 gram, it means in 40 grams, it'll be just X times 40. So let's just do that calculation now. What weight of miconazole is required to make 40 grams of a cream containing 2% weight to weight of the drug? 40 grams must contain 2 over 100 times 40, because 2% means there's 2 grams in 100 grams. So 2 over 100 times 40 will give me 0.8 grams. Practice 5. How much arachis oil is required to make 300 milliliters of an emulsion containing 25% volume to volume of arachis oil? So using the same method here, 25% volume to volume means that you've got 25 milliliters in 100 milliliters. You can then work out how much in 1 milliliter, so by dividing by the 100, and then work out how much in 300 of that by multiplying by the 300. So to do that, you would do 300 mils must therefore contain 25 over the 100 multiplied by 300, and that gives you an answer of 75 mils. Okay, so if we just sort of jump ahead a little bit, look at the concentration expression and determine how much arachis oil is contained in 1 ml of product. You've got 25% volume to volume, which means if there are X in X, there must be 3 times that much in 300 mils, because you know that 25% means that's what it is in 100 mils. So in 300 mils, it just must straightforward be 3 times that. So what we're hoping that you can do at that stage is save yourself a couple of stages. Just by looking at it, you know that you need to do 25 times 3, and you'd be able to get the answer very, very quickly, saving you time under exam conditions. Okay, so let's move on to another one. Practice 6. A mouthwash contains 0.1% weight to volume chlorhexidine gluconate. How much chlorhexidine gluconate in grams is contained in 250 milliliters of mouthwash? So again, here, if you look at the concentration expression, 0.1% weight to volume means that you've got 0.1 grams in 100 mils. So therefore you can work out how much in 1 mil by dividing 0.1 by 100, and then you'd multiply it by, 250. However, again, like the last time, there is a quick way of doing this. If you look at the question, it's the ratio between 100 mils and 250 mils is that 250 is 2.5 times 100. So by looking at that, you could just straight away say that all I need to do is 0.1 times 2.5 and I will have my answer. Okay? Practice 7. A patient is prescribed 5% weight to volume dextrose infusion at a rate of 50 milliliters per hour for 4 hours. How much dextrose will he or she receive? Okay, so looking at this, the answer you should have got is 10 grams. And the way we got to that is 5% weight to volume dextrose means you've got 5 grams in 100 mils. So you've got 5 grams of dextrose in 100 mils of the solution. So the patient has been given 50 milliliters per hour. So that means if you've got 5 grams in 100 mils, there's only 2.5 grams in 50 mils because it's half of that. So given over 4 hours, that's multiplied by 4 and that's 10 grams. Okay? So let's have a try, do some on your own. Try and do the next 4 on your own and see how that goes. It's for practice. The answer here is 4% volume to volume. D and E obviously were there to throw you, so you've got D, which is weight to volume. That can't be right because you've got glucose solution and 80 mils of glucose, so they're both liquid. So therefore the answer has to be in volume to volume. Once you've established that, you need to work out how much. So you've got 80 mils of glucose in 2 litres, which means you've got 80 mils in 2,000 millilitres, sorry. So how much in 100 millilitres is what you need to work out. And that should give you 4. An injection of drug X consists of 2 milligrams of X in 10 mils of injection solution. Express this in an appropriate percentage terms. Okay, the answer here is 0.02%. It's weight to volume because you've got 2 milligrams of drug X in 10 mils of injection. So that means you've got milligrams per mil. So if you've got 2 milligrams in 10 mils and 100 mils, you would have how much? Calculate the amount of copper sulfate required to produce 240 milliliters of a 1 in 20 solution. 1 in 20 is the same as 1 over 20, which is the same as 5 over 100. The answer here is 12 grams. Practice 11. Patient is prescribed 5% weight to volume dextrose infusion at a rate of 0.5 milliliters per minute for 3 hours. How much dextrose will he or she receive? The answer here is 4.5 grams. That brings us to the end of the weight to volume percentages and volume to volume percentages. Percentages in context, and I hope that this prepares you well for future calculations that we're going to do. In summary, please remember that the units are grams and milliliters. So if it's weight per volume, it's grams per milliliters. Okay, that's it.